Hi, in this video we're going to go through Modelcollect's Patriot system in 1/72. Hi, so let's have a look at see what we get inside the box. So, nice box art. I don't think there's anything on the box sides, so I'll just take the lid off. And I really like the boxes that Modelcollect use. If you look carefully, they're corrugated. They're really firm, really strong. So inside we have everything looks to be that. Or two like clear parts, another couple of bags of larger parts, and then the instruction manual. So as you can see at the top here, this is done in collaboration with Aoshima. They've also released this kit, but obviously Modelcollect have done the same. So the usual, start off a quick flick through the book. I'll go through the book in more detail. But basically, as you go through, usual starting sprues, and then it's essentially two separate kits really. Build them in parallel. One is building the prime mover, the M983, the tractor, and then you get to the midway point. Where are we here? Page 10, and you're building the trailer with the Patriot launch system. And in the back, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, 3 paint schemes. 3 pages for the tractors, 3 pages for the trailer. So I'll go through those in more detail at the end. So we have 2 big bags, 2 smaller bags, and also a bag of clear parts with looks like cable and decals in it. And like most of Modelcollect's, these bags are all resealable, which is really nice. That's a good move. You can put things back in here and seal them up and you won't lose anything. So I'll be back in a second when I've taken everything out the bags. So here we are, everything is out the bag. I was incorrect when I said all the bags were resealable. That wasn't quite right. Usually when I've looked at Modelcollect kits before, they've always been resealable bags. This one, there was a couple of bags that weren't resealable. And also inside the bag of clear parts, each of the clear parts was also bagged separately as well, so they were bags inside bags. So let's have a look what was in there first. Start off, we have the decal sheet. I'll just put that like that and I'll put it up on the screen as well. But I'll just move them around a little bit so I can see the reflection of the backing film. There's very little backing film on here, in fact I can't even see any. So the decals should be fine, there's no problems there. We get this little plastic insert, probably for holding something that's going to move. Looks like that will represent some pipe work of some sort. And then we have the clear parts, and they look very nice. There's no distortion as I look through them at anything, so they should work just fine. Nice and clean as they come in. So that windshield wipers are moulded onto that front windscreen there. And the other one is also just the same, I think. No problems with those either. They all look good. So let's have a look at the green parts we've got now. This part here was in one bag on its own, along with this part, which was loose in the bag, but I can't see. I'm kind of thinking this was supposed to be loose in the bag because I can't see where it was supposed to go otherwise. It didn't come off this sprue. And that's basically the the cab. So that looks nice. It's nice detail on the front and the roof. Now these have looks like nice small attachment points in places. These doors look fragile, so the top of them look fragile, so I'll have to use a saw to cut those off. Some small parts, nicely detailed. Some nice texture in places. That's the radiator. Injector pin marks all on the back here, so they'll never see the light of day again. That looks good. That's Sprue B. So that looks nice. In the other large bag were these sprues here. So look at this one. This Sprue G, I think. Interesting, my guesses on the resealable bags is some were produced by Modelcollect, because I notice Sprue B has the Modelcollect name on the sprue at the top, and this one doesn't. And I think this came out of one of the bags that was properly sealed. But again, the very fine attachment points, looks like nicely detailed. Ejector pin marks on the backs here. You can see these will be underneath things, so you'll never see them. So that looks good. So this is the next sprue. Again, Modelcollect's not written on this, so I'm guessing this is an Aoshima sprue produced by them. With some, again, small connection points. The wheels has some detail on the treads. I'll take some photographs. I'll have a closer look at those. And there's just outriggers on there as well. So they look quite nice. And that's nicely detailed, nice textures. This is obviously the main part of the trailer. Nice detail on there, some texture. Like so far, I can barely feel it. I have to scrape my nail down it to feel the texture there. There's small attachment points. Ejector pin marks on the underside of everything, or it will be the underside when it's built. Looks nice. There's some aerials, guessing aerials or jacks or something in the middle there, and a missile. So that's one of the Aoshima ones. And this one was another sealed bag, and I can see again there's Modelcollect's name isn't on these. This is obviously the trailer again. This is the cans the missiles sit in, and basically there's two identical sprues there. So they look there's a nice rivet detail on there. On the sides, yes, they're okay. Now these ones are in a resealable bag, and it has Modelcollect on it. So it looks as though the collaboration has been that Modelcollect have supplied the tractor, and Aoshima are supplying the trailer with the Patriot missile launcher. So that seems to be how it's worked out between them. And that makes sense because now Modelcollect also have another kit using exactly the same trailer. So basically they've sort of done a bit of a mix and match. Rather than Modelcollect making dies to produce the trailer, they just used Aoshima's and used their own production facilities to make the trailers. Sorry, the tractor. So anyway, there's a fan. Looks like an engine. Going back to Modelcollect, lots of small parts, lots of fine detail. On my guess is the tractor is going to be more parts than the trailer and more details. That looks nice. Small attachment points, ejector pin marks on the back. That's good. These two are identical. Again, Modelcollect. Transmission stuff. Lots of small parts there. Very fine attachment points. Some nice detail. And this again is two identical sprues. And it looks like these are obviously these are the wheels. It looks like they're made up from basically this here will make one wheel, outside parts, and these two, the two rings form the tread in the middle. So I'll have to play with those. It looks like they just sort of latch together like gear teeth. I can feel there's like putting my finger on this side is like gear teeth on there, so they should all fit together nicely. One hopes. So that looks good. Plenty of parts there. So basically, it looks like a quite a nicely detailed kit. So what I'll do next is we'll go through the instructions step at a time and have a closer look at some of the parts and see what we're dealing with. But so far, it looks rather nice. And the nice thing about this one is you could actually build the tractor and the trailer in parallel, both at the same time. You don't have to sort of start at the beginning, work at the end. You can build it as two kits at once almost. So let's go over. Let's have a look at the manual. So the instructions come in a pretty neat booklet with, I think it's about 18 pages. So we start off with a usual bit of information about the system that you're building. Then we have the sprue layouts, and you can see everything's laid out there quite nicely, even down to the vinyl tubing, and the decals are on there as well. Everything, it looks as though everything's used, but I get the feeling that some of the clear parts are not used that came from Aoshima and the launcher. So as I said, this essentially is a kit of two kits basically. You can build them concurrently. So if we turn over the page, we'll see we start building the tractor, which came from Modelcollect. And that looks nicely detailed. There's side mirrors, clear parts going in. It's all pretty straightforward. There's, on the next page, step 5, there's an interior goes in. And then step 6, we start putting the chassis together, and that's what's on the rest of the page as well. Lots of small parts with nice details. Over page, we're continuing on page 5. Steps 8 through 10 are yet more chassis detail going in. Step 11 is putting the wheels together, and these are quite interesting. They're made from, each wheel is 4 parts. You've got basically the 2 sides and 2 parts that go in the middle, and they have teeth on them, so they all sort of fit together quite snugly. They should look quite nice when they're done. And then part 12 is look at the fuel tank and some other parts. And then over the page, steps 13 is essentially finishing off the base of the chassis. Step 14 is putting together the engine and what looks like a gearbox. Step 15, we fit those. And step 16, we're adding more details onto the tractor. And then on the next page, page 9, basically the tractor's completely finished here with the last parts going on. So it looks quite nice, straightforward, not too many pieces involved in each step, so it shouldn't be too bad. Now on the next page, we actually go back to step 1 again, except this time we're talking about the launch trailer. This obviously came from Aoshima. They previously released this kit as just a kit of the launcher. So obviously it made sense to release it using Modelcollect's trailer. Modelcollect's tractor. So in step 1 you'll see this is where the polycaps go. They get fitted because what you can do is you have interchangeable outriggers. obviously the outriggers are deployed if the system's ready to launch, and they're stowed if the system's ready to move. So that's where they go, and then the wheels are obviously done differently, as you can see in step 4. The wheels are different on the trailer. They're made from 2 parts, but they still look nicely detailed. Interestingly, there doesn't seem to be much tread in the middle. And then on the rest of this page, just start building like cabinets and things. And then over the page, steps 10 through 13 is putting basically the details onto the trailer. There's not as many parts in the trailer as there is in the tractor. To put those together, like on the back of the launchers, there's actually, you can see there's 4 panels there, because each of these containers contains 4 missiles. There's actually 16 missiles in the back here. And it does supply 2 different parts on step 13, one for the canister being elevated, one for the canister being down. But it doesn't seem to indicate whether you can move between the 2 states once the kit is built. So if we look at step 14, this is where the polycaps come in, and they've made it so that the outriggers can be swapped over for either the deployed ones, or the extended ones, or the folded ones. And then the very last thing is you add the vinyl tube at the back. I'll probably have to look at some photographs to work that out. What I've done on the website is I've taken, I think there's about 50 odd images on the website of the instructions, close-up part photographs as well. So have a good look there to have a look at the level of detail on some of the parts. Then if you turn over the page, we have the first of the painting schemes for the tractor. I'll just go through these. The 3 options, one's green, one's like a stone colour, and one is in a tricolour, 3-colour camouflage. Colours are all called out with ammo paints. I like the way it seems like Ammo do the painting guides. I like the way they do those with some shading. And then it's exactly the same look if we go now to the launching station, as they call it, and it's the same again, and it's reasonably simple, straightforward. So overall, there's lots of parts in this kit, especially for a 1/72 scale kit. A lot of parts have some nice detail on them. The tractor is slightly more detailed than the trailer, but then again, you'd kind of expect that. The decals look nice. There's no backing film. The decals are on the painting guides, but you have to look to see which ones go where. They're not actually called out as such. So overall, it's a very nice kit. It's the only one on the market of this whole system in one box. So it should do well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and many thanks to Modelcollect for sending the sample for review.